Hi everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. 2011 Jeep Wrangler 3.8, not the Pentastar. Last year of these. Customer complaint, lights. So this vehicle is sold by a shop to a customer less than a month ago. It's still under warranty. So the shop brought it back here because the customer says, hey, my parking lights aren't working, turn signals aren't working, something along those lines. So let's check all the lights before we start. I have the garage, the shop lights off so we can see the illumination. So keys on. I did scan it for codes, and in the BCM, or the infamous TIPM, we do have some lighting codes. Front right turn lamp, front left turn lamp, front right fog lamp, front left or front right and front left fog lamp control circuits. Circuits high. Okay, could that be a bad ground? Perhaps, or it could be a bad TIPM. Well, we're not going to throw a TIPM at it just yet. Let's do some basic checks. So headlights on, that's low beam, high beam, so that seems to work. Now I'm just going to leave the parking lights on here. Let's see if there's anything lit up in the front. So that is supposed to light up. I think this is supposed to light up. So none of that works. Let's check the rear lights. Okay, that works. That works. License plate light does work. Okay, very good. Now, let's turn on the hazard lights, or we can turn on the turn signal. So left turn signal. It's there, but it looks kind of dim, doesn't it? Well, this one here, pretty nice and bright. Okay. Right turn signal. Again, on camera it might look okay, but it's very dim. And let's see, if we turn the headlights on, no turn signal at all. And then it goes crazy. It goes clicky, 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 clicky. Because I'm sure the left one is blinking fast now. Okay, so let me just check the brake lights. Make sure those work. Oh, let's see. Press the brake pedal. Brake lights on. Brake lights on. Center light is not on. So we'll note that. And finally, let's do the fog lights. Let's see, where's the fog light switch? Is there a special switch for the fog lights? Push. No, that's high beam. Does this thing have fog lights? Yeah, it does. It does have fog lights. Well, how do you turn them on? Oh, you pull the stock out. Okay? And they're both on. Alright. Looks good. And then high beam, the fog lights go out. Low beam, the fog lights turn on. Interesting. What's the next step? I'm going to go right into this BCM, or the TIPM. And clear fault code. Okay. Read fault code. No DTCs stored. Let's run through all the lights again. So headlights, fog lights, turn signal, turn signal with headlights. Okay. Let's see if we stored any codes. No codes stored. Okay. left front turn lamp. Okay, so something seems to work. Next step, wiring diagram. Let's write all the lights that don't work, pull up some wiring diagrams, and see where, what feeds these bulbs. Are we going after the TIPM, or could it be a bad ground? We'll find out very soon. Alright, so in the art of diagnostics, you want to challenge yourself and say, can we pinpoint this problem just by the symptoms and a wiring diagram? When we go back to the vehicle, I want to go right to the problem. Is that possible? Let's see. So here is the wiring diagram for the external lights. So here is the right front side marker, left front side marker. These are the turn and marker lights in the front. And we can all see they're grounded at G102 near right headlight assembly. Okay, you can see that. And let's see what feeds these parking lights. It's this white light green circuit. So fuse M17 15 amp, it branches off there, it branches off here, and also feeds the rear parking lights, which work fine. Okay, that's interesting. We're having problems with our turn signals are dim, and as soon as you turn the parking lights on, they go out. What does that tell you? That is screaming to me that this G102 is compromised. It would affect left front side marker, both front turn signals, and right front side marker lamp. Okay, so let's look up G102 near right headlight assembly, the exact location. Go there and see if there's something wrong with the ground. We could pop out a marker light just to verify that we have a bad ground. We could do that. That's fine. Just use a bright test light. From battery positive, it should be ground when it touches that black wire. So for ground locations, something weird's going on. I look up like G100, it's saying G901, and it's pointing over there. There is no G102, that's the one we're looking for. G101 says G902, it's on the engine block. So something's messed up in the diagrams. But right here it says G102 near right headlight assembly. Let's try to find that. Alright, here we go. Quick check. I popped out the right front marker light assembly. You see you have a black wire and a white and light green. And that right pin should be a ground. So now we have a good power and ground coming on these leads to my test light. So first, test light connected to battery ground. If it finds a positive, it should light up nice and bright, and it does. So let me turn on the parking lights. And we'll see if the white and light green wire has power on it. And it sure does. And if that light bulb doesn't light up, we know we have a bad ground. So we're exactly on the right track. We can even check that right now. So let's go from battery positive. If we find a good ground, our test light's going to light up. Well, guess what? I'm sure we're not going to have a good ground right here. Okay, so we're almost done. We just have to find this G102 that supplies ground to all these lights, and the diagrams weren't very helpful. It said near right headlight assembly. Maybe right there. This is a little green and crusty. Maybe. Here's a ground there. There's a ground there. So maybe it was painted. I don't know. Let's see. That's a good ground. But the eyelet is a good ground. So I'm on the eyelet. What if I'm out right here? That's a good ground. What about the wires? The wires look a little green and crusty. I'm stabbing the wire. Bingo! That's it. This is our bad ground, just corroded off. It's a whole bundle of wires, and it's bad for all the wires. So let's get this air box out, redo this ground. I don't know if we have to recrimp it or put a new eyelet on it or whatever, but we'll get it done. Restore parking lights, marker lights, and then maybe for bonus footage we can figure out the rear stop lamp. Maybe a bulb's burned out, who knows. But so far, very easy diagnosis. We got the air box out of the way, unscrewed the ground eyelet and uncrimped the little insulation holders. How much do you want to bet that if I tweak this, it's just going to fall right off these wires? You can see that is not good copper, it's just rust dust. I'm surprised it's holding on to anything. There we go. There's the background. It looks terrible. So now our job is to clean up these wires and bundle them together. Maybe use a couple eyelets, the skinny ones and the fatter one. I don't know if I can reuse this, but we'll reattach it and make sure everything works like it's supposed to. So for cleaning this mess, I got them stripped back here. I'm just going to use a wire wheel. Seems to work pretty decent. I just want some solder to stick to these. And then I think we'll tin these. And then with this sucker, the original eyelet, probably open it up a little more in the vise, clean that out with a wire wheel, and then we'll just crimp all these back together. So I made 3 separate bundles out of the wires, or 2 bundles plus the fat wire. I just want to solder them together, kind of keep them together before we crimp them into the new connector. Let's see if I did a good job cleaning the wires. Will the solder actually stick? That seems to be pretty decent. Wire number 2. Now those came apart. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I guess we can tin the big one a little bit. Just so the strands don't come apart. Good enough for me. Now, I'm going to get all 3 of these, and we're going to crimp them in this part. And they will also, the wires will be long enough so that the insulation also gets in here, so it'll be mechanically supported. If you're just crimping here and they're wobbling on the wires, they will snap off, especially considering this is a Jeep and it's vibrates and goes off-road supposedly. I don't know how true that is. But let's crimp that together, and we might flow a little more solder on there just for security. we'll call this thing fixed. Alright, so I got all the wires stuffed in here. They're pre-tinned, so is the eyelet. Now I want to heat this sucker up pretty good, nice and toasty. And just flow a little more solder to join all the wires together. It's working pretty well. Let that cool down. The tuck test should be as good as new. Alright, nice and solid ground. Slap it back on. I feel like I'm ergo doing the green crusties challenge here. Sniffing out the bad grounds. Pop that back on. Now you can always add a little of your favorite anti-corrosion fluid to there. Solid. Let's put the bulb back in the marker light here. Turn on the parking lights. Yay! We're back in business. Yep, everything works. No burnt bulbs up here. That's happy. Oh, it's all happy. Now these are just parking lights. Oh, okay, that's just parking lights there. And let's try our turn signals. Now that is much better. Fixed. Bonus footage, brake lights. So the center brake light does not work, got it unplugged. Power and ground, which one are we missing? So I have known good powers and grounds right here. So battery negative, test light, to battery positive, nothing. So it looks like we're missing a power. Let's try the ground. Switch the test light over. Okay, we do have a test light. So, ground is good, the power is missing. Let's see where the power comes from for the center brake light. So, center brake lamp. Here it is. We know that it works. The LEDs are fine. The ground is good. We're missing the power feed. So, where's a convenient connector? Where does this power feed come from? Well, it comes from this splice. White tan wires, stop lamp signal, that's the TIPM, stop lamp signal to the cluster, stop lamp signal at the stop lamp switch. This is the brake pedal switch. So I assume that the voltage comes from the brake pedal switch and powers up this entire tree, and this LED should light up when you press the brake pedal. Now, let's go to connector C200, pin 6. That is this bulk connector by the instrument panel. So that's what it looks like. We're worried about pin 6. It's going to be a white, let's see, brake lamp switch output, white and brown, or white and tan wire. Let's try to find that and do some checks there. Okay, so under the right side of the instrument panel, I found the big bulk connector. There's 2 of them. We're worried about the upper one. And this is our white and tan wire on pin 6. I made sure it was pin 6. So I'm probing that. And let's do a test light to battery ground and see if that will light up when we press the brake pedal. I'm assuming the key has to be on. So key's on. There we go. This light is not lighting. Rear center lamp is not lighting, but our main brake lights are fine. So let's do the same bypass check. Just feed positive voltage to that wire. Make sure we're on the right wire. This will be a wire continuity check. Boom. Center brake light lights up. So we just proved that if we feed positive voltage into here, it does travel. So this wire all the way from that connector through the center brake light is fine. So we're getting pretty close. We're going from the brake switch to this connector through a splice S273. So here, here, and back down to our center brake light. So what's the next check? We can do a check on the other side of this connector just to be 100% that the connector is okay. And then we'll go after the stop lamp switch at the brake pedal. Okay, I'm noticing something very interesting. Brake pedal's off, switch is off. If I energize this, all our brake lights come on. Huh. You would think the brake lights would work with the key out. So if I press the brake pedal, they do not work. But if I turn the key on, only the main brake lights work. How do you explain that? Well, take a look at the wiring diagram. What are the other inputs and outputs at this brake pedal switch? So stop lamp signal, if we energize that manually with the key out, the main brake lights come on because the TIPM receives that signal and energizes the main brake lights, and obviously the center brake light also comes on. When we just press the brake pedal switch, let's say the stop lamp signal is broken, that does not have voltage on it when we press the brake switch, where else would these wires go? Well, they go to the PCM, so that would see a brake pedal switch input, and that talks to the TIPM on the can. So when the key's on, the PCM is like, hey, they're pressing the brake pedal, and the TIPM's like, well, we don't see this input, but the brake pedal's being pressed, so we're going to turn on the main brake lights. So I think we have to go to the stop pedal switch to this white and tan wire on pin 6, do a check there. If that's no good, it needs a new brake pedal switch. Now we do have to check the powers here. There's an ignition and a battery power coming from hot at all times, fuse 1, and then hot and runner start, fuse 37. Okay? Alright, let me prove to you that the fuse is good. Now M1, if you can see on this box, M1 center high mount brake stop light, and M1 is right here. So the first little one in this row, that's the 15 amp. So that lights up my test light. And the other side, oh come on, you gotta be kidding me. I checked it before. Now you guys are gonna think I'm a liar. That's a blown fuse. Well, let's replace it and make sure our brake lights work. Oh yeah, blown right through. So I don't know if this was caused by someone or something. Obviously it was. But is the problem still there? So let's install a 5 amp test light in that slot. Make sure the brake lights work. Do a wiggle check. Make sure there's no short to ground. Alright, so 5 amp test light installed in place of the fuse. Make sure all our brake lights work with the key out. They do. So why did that fuse blow? I don't know, but I feel confident installing brand new fuse. Make sure you do a wiggle check. I mean, everything here looks super clean. I think they power washed this engine bay. Obviously the Jeep has some northeast corrosion, but they fluid filmed everything. Looks nice. Let's pop in a fuse and call this one fixed. Alright, here we go. 15 amps. That in. Beautiful. So that took a little longer than expected. Now, how do you charge for this if you kind of got on a little rabbit hole and it was just a blown fuse? Obviously I can't charge an hour for it. Half an hour is fine. Jeep's ready to get back on the road. So appreciate everyone watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.